Welcome to the digital age. The digital age brings many challenges in the corporate world. With those challenges, it's important that the corporate world learns what those are so that they can get ahead of the challenges in order to be successful in this day and age. Some of the challenges posed come from the media. With that, media now, instead of writing long stories and publishing them in newspapers, more often publishes stories online, which allows them to publish 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This creates a time where people see the news immediately. With that, everyone has the ability to see it at their fingertips. And these stories are made available to the public through news stations as well as social media that go straight to people's laptops, tablets, and phones. With publishing stories, not all parties have always been contacted before the stories are published. So if something happens in the corporate world with your business, if they don't get a hold of the company or the HR department, a lot of times reporters will still go ahead and post the story in order to have the story out first and beat their competition. With that, it makes it so the corporate side of the story isn't heard and we don't always have the full story, but people start making their decisions and opinions based off of what is out there. This also creates less response time for corporate to decide how to respond. Ways to help with that are to make sure that you have a strong human resources department. With a strong human resources department, it's important to have them present so that they're aware of what's going on in the company and someone to report to in order to keep things under control and make sure that policies and procedures are being followed correctly and that things are not getting out of control. That will help prevent information not just getting to social media, but prevent anything happening that needs to get to the media. It's also important to make sure that the Human Resource Department is still taking time to evaluate the situation before responding. Then we have recruiting and software systems. All of this also ties into the digital age as everything now is done online. Many people use third-party recruiting software such as ZipRecruiter or Monster in order to find new employees. And they're not always able to do this on their own. This graph here shows us that 75% of small businesses do handle it on their own. This may or may not be the best option for your company. 22% do not handle it on their own, and 3% are not sure. We also have the challenge of communication and social media. With social media, it allows anybody to post opinions and reviews of the company at any time. Again, this goes straight to people's fingertips and their view in the public. Many people do go off of ratings online, which again, even if it's just somebody's opinion, but that's the rating that they give, it can impact the company. 40% of cell phone use is used on social media, which again is filled with news and business reviews. So people see that right away and are using their phones to look up reviews of companies and see what's going on in the world. With them having such immediate access to that, it does shift things. It gives more power to the public and kind of takes some control away from the corporate world. So how do businesses manage social media accounts? With small businesses, 84% do manage their own social media accounts. From there, it dramatically decreases of who outsources to a third party and who hires a who hires an employee just to handle social media. It is important to keep social media accounts active and to be using them to respond to customers and concerns and even good comments on a regular basis. With that, for many companies, it is important to have someone devoted to social media, whether it's someone who specializes in it or it's a third party who really knows what they're doing, in order to better market for the company and use that to their advantage and strength for the company. It's also important for corporate to learn how to conduct video interviews. Having an employee whose sole role is managing the social media accounts again, and keeping the media accounts active. So many people rely on social media that having those accounts active is a great way of keeping in touch with your customers and your clients that you work with and showing people who you are as a company, which is important in this day and age. With digital age, people want to see all of that and want to have access to that information. Learning to conduct video interviews allows for corporate to have a better idea of candidates who may be applying from out of state. They're able to see the person, they're able to discuss with them back and forth, and not just through email or phone, which doesn't give as personal response time. That's a great way to keep up with the digital age and to be on top of that. It is challenging, as a lot of people in the corporate world do have difficulties with technology and learning all of the different aspects of it that are available in this time. But it's important to take the time to train those employees and make sure that we are able to use the resources provided. And then we just have the reference page. All research was done by myself, Lori Schaefer, and thank you so much for your time and tuning in today.